Good morning. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And thank you to all the organizers who helped this boy from Nyaka come to a stage in Traverse City. It's a humbling experience. My son, Nicholas, who is 10 years old, told me, "Daddy, when you speak in public, you need to speak slow. And make sure you pronounce words correctly." He's born here in the United States, and so his accent is American accent. So my accent is Ugandan accent, so welcome to Uganda. I am a father of 4. My twins turn 1 month today. Twin girls. And because of that, I am really extra humbled because I'm going to talk about children who will wake up the next morning without daddy or mommy say, "I love you." I was born and raised in a tiny village in Uganda. Very tiny, you can't find it on Google Maps. Very tiny that I want to talk to Patrick afterwards on how we can get tweets to also land in my village. When you go to Uganda, you will find this wonderful map of Uganda, a country surrounded by all the upheavals you've heard in the news everywhere. Democratic Republic of Congo, Southern Sudan, rigged elections in Kenya, Idi Amin in Uganda. But what you don't hear about is the beauty of this country. A village like this, where I was born and raised, where men and women have 2 things on their mind every day. A dream to send their children to school. Children are sent to school in my village for 2 major reasons. One is to break the cycle of poverty and deprivation. The second one is to get education so you can come back later and take care of your mom and dad. And so education in that sense is not your typical public education in the United States. Education in that sense becomes an investment. Mom and dad have never worked, have never earned a paycheck. They vowed to send all 5 of us to school knowing once we graduate, their 501k is set. Their social security is taken care of. Today, as I speak in Traverse City, Michigan, if mom wants another hairdo, she will call me, and I'll provide it. If dad wants a different spoon or a fork in the house, he will send a message, and I'll provide it. Why? Because I grew up seeing them go through life without a penny so I can get an education. So that's my village. Men and women wake up from the top up there and drive all the way on foot, not in a Range Rover, not in a Mercedes-Benz, and go down to the bottom, fetch water, carry it back up here. So next time you are watching a marathon and an African, Kenyan, Ugandan, Somalia wins, don't be surprised. We train every day. This village right here, I have a story I'm going to start with and tell you. In this tiny village of Nyaka, typically when you arrive in Uganda and you want to go to Nyaka village, it will take you at least 8 hours driving. I'm not counting flying to Amsterdam for 8.5 and then Amsterdam to Uganda for 8.5. Once you arrive, you will drive 8 hours. There is no speed limit on the Uganda streets. You can drive as fast as you want. But as soon as you start driving from Kampala, each hour you drive, you are going out of the ordinary into the extraordinary. 2 hours into your drive, the houses are going to change, and you start seeing grass-thatched houses. 3 hours into your drive, your phone bar and iPhone 5 is not going to have any buzz. Useless. That Verizon commercial you used to hear, "Can you hear me now?" becomes a reality. Drive 3 more hours, you start wondering, where am I going? I don't need a sedan, now I need a 4x4. If it is a rainy season, you start sliding. If it is sunny season, you start seeing a lot of dust. By the time you drive 7 hours, many people are asking themselves, I don't go anymore. And that's when you come to this beauty. In this village, the story I'm going to tell you, there was a man I will never forget. Every morning, this man would gather his children in front of their house and pull out one pencil. A pencil, he would then go in the house and bring his machete and cut that pencil 5 times. Line up his children and go, 1, there you go. 2, there you go. 3, there you go. 4 and 5. There you go. His children got an education because he was able to save money and buy 1 pencil at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, in Uganda, a pencil will cost you 2 cents. Change you don't even look for in your pockets. But because a child has no pencil, in that beautiful landscape you see, in that village of Nyaka, as I speak today in Traverse City, a child who does not have a fifth of a pencil will not go to school. So when you think of markets crashing in the United States and credit crunch and recession, recession happens every day in my village. That man who broke those pencils was my dad. My dad and mom invested everything they could so we can get an education. But they didn't only do that. They also left those vivid images that when I see a pencil while I'm golfing, I cannot leave that pencil behind. When I go to church and see a broken pencil, I collect them. In fact, now I have a huge collection of pencils because each piece of that pencil represents an investment in a child's life. I saw many children dropping out of school because they could not afford a pencil. And as a young man, I was outraged because I had no idea what I could do. My classmates dropped out because they didn't have a pencil. My friends didn't go to school because they didn't have a pencil. My sisters dropped out because they didn't have sanitary products. Each time they hit a monthly period, no school for them. That meant they are failing their exams and they are not going further in school. I love my parents so much, I put their slide twice. Every morning I would wake up. As a young boy, I would walk to school. Walking to school, Uganda being on the equator, means there are equal days and equal nights. Every time you're walking to school, you walk in the dark. And by the way, on foot. At 4.5 years old, I learned a hard lesson following my sisters to go to school, thinking they are just going down the street and go to school. Found out they were going 7.5 miles. Today, an average student walks more than 20 miles a day. 10 to school, 10 back. I'll bet you none of you walked here to Traverse City TEDx. And if you have to walk a 5K, you will train and go on a diet. And put it on Facebook. I walked 5K. My goal is run a marathon. Oprah Winfrey, P. Diddy, Angelina Jolie, I ran a marathon. Children in my village run them every day, and they have no Facebook to post them on. As I went through school, went my education, all 5 of us were really happy, growing children. Here I am graduating from college in Uganda, standing next to my brother, the man who was the firstborn in our family, who was our rock, who was everything we knew a man can be in the family. Singing, married, 3 children. Oh, give me a shot, is what I always told him when he visited. But as I entered Columbia University in 1994, that brother of mine passed away because of HIV and AIDS. He left 3 children. The following year, 1997, my sister, the old one, passed away also because of HIV and AIDS. Uganda has a population of 34 million people. Half of that population is below 15 years of age. AIDS has killed so many people in Uganda. If you go back and search on the internet, every Ugandan you meet has lost somebody to HIV/AIDS. 2.2 million children are orphaned because of HIV/AIDS. And as my brother passed away and my sister passed away, and these children are now coming to me as a guardian, I still had no idea what I could do. I wish TEDx was available there, then I could have listened, ideas worth sharing. But as my brother passed away, I said I can do something. As a boy going back from United States back to my village, I knew the value of the pencil. And that pencil story stayed with me. I said, I'm going to go back to the village. I'll give pencils to other children so they can go to school. And that's when I started Nyaka School, a school where children will go for free and get pencils with erasers and get them for free without cutting them 5 times. We started working with the public. The local people identified children, and every face you will see of these children is a child who will wake up with no mommy and no daddy. But after 12 years, we have come up with a system, a human rights-based approach to care for these children, and they have been successful. CNN went there and visited them. United Nations has heard their stories because we have not failed a child. 645 students now are in our education. They are taken care of. They get meals. They get education. The holistic approach involves 5 basic needs, which I'm going to share with you here shortly. There is the successful graduation class. Passing rates in Uganda are 20%. Our children have graduated every year since 2008, 100%. Girls and boys. Now, if you clap, that would be a good thing to clap for. But as we were going through educating these children at Nyaka School, a child decided to walk from this village, Kutamba, and walk to Nyaka School. When they told me, I said, I'm building another school. And I built a second school called Kutamba. Kutamba has students, similar, orphaned, destitute, but successful because we love and care for them. And they have also been successful, passing, going on to secondary school. There is the first class that graduated in 2008. Now they are in high school. Soon, I'm talking with the MasterCard Foundation. Soon, they will be in a university. And soon, they have to share their own ideas. Jackson will not be their talking person. They will speak on their behalf. This is how we've done it. We went back to the roots of African culture, the culture that respects elderly people, the culture that loves grandmothers, the culture that knows a woman who is taken care of will take care of the family. I'm not saying this because of all you beautiful ladies here. It is true. Grandmothers. We are not running an orphanage, ladies and gentlemen. We are running schools for orphans, depending on the community to take care of these children. And those who have taken care of them are grandmothers. We work with 7,000 grandmothers who live with 34,500 children. Meet these grandmothers. We could go in and hand them money and drop food from helicopters like international aid does. We don't do that. We've gone in their homes and sit down with them and ask them, what can we do to support you? And they've come up with a system of making baskets, of making beads. We buy these baskets from them. We have taught them what they already know, improved agriculture systems. Later I'm going to listen to my brother talking about food and how to grow your food. There is nutrition for our children. 2 meals a day they eat at school are the only 2 meals they eat in 24 hours. We've gone in and grown corn. We've gone in and done something my son loves to do, which is reading. I wrote a book because I wanted our children to read books. So we built a community library so every child can hold a book. So every child can read. Every child can use a computer. We've worked with Rotary International to construct clean water systems in all villages so children have clean water. So a woman who is beaten by the husband because she took long to bring water can have water on the doorsteps. Save the wife, curb domestic violence, love the child, and take care of them. What we take for granted in this country, health care. When we delivered our twins, we had more than 17 nurses and doctors in the room. Children in my village are born in the bush. A woman is walking around, a baby drops out and comes back with a baby. That means 80% of the children die before they make 5 years old to come to Nyaka. We have changed that and built a clinic and provide free medication for these children. Our holistic approach has also economically empowered the community. Look at all those young men and women who are employed by our organization. We employ 54 people in this village. We are the biggest employer in the village. But we've not done it by ourselves. Volunteers all over the country have done, and here is the wonderful former president who has endorsed my book and said, our work is turning tragedy into hope. I could have folded my hands and cried, my brother died, my sister died, but I wanted to go back and do something for a child who does not have a parent. But here is a story and a slide that is meant to be blank. Because it is a story about Scovia, a child who was born with HIV/AIDS, came to school. We didn't even take a picture of her. 3 years later, she succumbed to HIV/AIDS. And she's living with a grandmother. Took her to that clinic of ours. Nothing happened. Went back and forth, fed her everything we could, but malaria, tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, all combined, Scovia could not survive. As Scovia is dying in a hospital, she turned back and looked at her grandmother, said, Grandma, when I die, I want to be buried in my school uniform. The purple and white. 2 days later, Scovia died. And we put her uniform on her and buried her. When her grandmother asked her, why do you want to be buried in a school uniform? We could buy you a new dress. Scovia said, my happiest time, the time I spent at Nyaka. And I want to die a happy girl. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have done in this village is not only provide pencils and pens and food and health care. What we have done is turn tragedy into hope for children who are living and even those who have died. 3 weeks ago, we lost another child called Joshua, bright young man among the ones who graduated in December. He had kidney failure. We didn't know he had kidney problems. When we took him to the hospital, the doctors said they can't do anything about it. I know all of you, and those of you watching from different stages, are all interested and are all inspired and motivated to do something in the world, which is why you are here. And many of you have already done so much in the world, and I thank you for that. But if you ever doubt whether you can make a difference in a child's life, in somebody's life, remember a pencil. Just a fifth of a pencil. Those days when you are beating yourself down and you are working on a diet that is not working, remember a pencil. That day when you have a bad hair day, or you can't find what to wear in your full closet, remember a pencil. All it takes to keep the Scovias, to keep the Joshuas, to keep the grandmothers moving forward daily, all it takes is a pencil, and you can do it. Thank you.